Good day, everyone. I am Ms. Jeramie Landicho, your sharer for today. My study is entitled Pupils Academic Achievement on MTB-MLE, Basis for a Flexible Class Instruction. The COVID-19 pandemic has shifted the mode of instruction from face-to-face instruction to flexible learning. Most academic institutions have modified their policies, programs, management, and also the instructions. Despite the limited resources and their exposure to the use of technology, internet connectivity, and the like, most in the academe continue to become resourceful and creative to be able to offer a quality teaching and learning experience. Some schools have initiated flexible classes during the pre-pandemic period, and it was even promoted and intensified during the pandemic when most of the teachers and all pupils were advised to stay at home. To have a better understanding of what this is all about, let us first look at these three main concepts. We have pupils' academic achievement, MTB-MLE, flexible class instruction. When we say pupils' academic achievement, this focuses on the pupil's level of achievement in each of the given competencies covered. MTB-MLE is a program that mandates its use as a medium of instruction during the first 4 primary years in school, preferably preschool to grade 3, while learning Filipino and English as subjects. That's according to Monge et al. In 2019. Mother tongue-based multilingual education, or what we called MTB-MLE, was institutionalized in the Philippines through Republic Act 10523, or the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013 by the Department of Education. Flexible class instruction provides an opportunity for pupils to have the freedom on when, what, and how, or even where they would want to learn. This research is significant as it assesses the pupil's academic achievement in MTB-MLE, identifies their level of achievement in each of the given competencies covered, and recommends some strategies that further enhance their skills, especially during this pandemic where the flexible class is being offered. Moreover, the culture and heritage of Batangas province are also highlighted in the assessment. Although the respondent of the study only include a selected group of pupils in a private school in Batangas and investigated only a particular dialect, this study can further provide insight into the body of knowledge on how data speak among the chosen pupils. Further, this will help in nurturing and instilling the language of a certain locality to the learners. The MTB-MLE skills that need to be intensified and in the long run will help them easily adapt to the language of their community. Krashen stated that acquisition learning hypothesis explains that language can be learned through subconscious process and language lessons. This further describes that there are two independent ways in how learning competence can be developed: acquisition and learning. Input hypothesis, on the other hand, promotes exposure so learners will better learn the language. This explicates that vocabulary and oral fluency can also be developed through the use of the given context. To have a deeper understanding of pupils' academic achievement on MTB-MLE, the researchers sought the answers to the following research questions. 1. What is the demographic profile of the pupils in terms of a language background that includes first learned home language, language before starting school, and commonly used language? B. Language challenges. 2. What are the pupils' academic achievement in learning their local language? 3. Is there a significant difference in pupils' academic achievement and their language background, language challenges? 4. Which among the skills are considered pupil strengths and weaknesses? Number 5, based on the findings, what instructional strategies can be proposed? The respondents of the study were the 182 pupils in grade 2. The pupils' ages range from 7 to 8 years old, who are mostly residing in the province of Batangas. Last school year, there were 22 transferees and preferred the online modality that the school offers. 40 pupils were from the grade 2, from the total grade 2 population were chosen for the pilot testing of the test to be used. And out of the 142 respondents, only 60 pupils were given parents' consent and became the actual respondents of the study. It was actually a challenge to collect parents' or guardians' consent for this pandemic, since they are all so occupied with a lot of things, academic tasks and daily works. Some also tend to have their children prioritize their academic tasks instead of participating in the study. So all of these were accepted and respected, for participating in a research study should not be forced or required among the participants. During the pilot study, the difficulty value and discrimination index through item analysis were identified. Items that appeared to be very difficult and too easy were modified. This means that in a 20-item assessment, those who score 14 and above are classified as passed, while 13 and below are failed. The equivalent percent is based on the academic policy set by the school. After modifying the 3 items from the pilot study, the achievement test was then administered among grade 2 pupils. Descriptive quantitative research method was used, specifically frequency and percentage analysis, the non-parametric tests such as the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test and the Shapiro-Wilk test. So these tests were employed to test the normality of the data. It is used to determine the type of distribution a population has. This also yielded the appropriate statistical measure to be used in the study. Now, aside from what I've mentioned, an FGD was also conducted in the study, along with the self-made survey questionnaire, wherein it comprised of, first, the pupil's profile that includes language background and language challenges, and B, a 20-item achievement test that covers the skills that they need to learn on MTB-MLE. In the process of the study, the following procedures were followed. First, the researcher accomplished the forms from the ORP. These include the application for research ethics review, research ethics review clearance form, parental consent, and letter to participants. Afterwards, the content validation was also administered and employed reliability test. The Google form link was also sent among the respondents before conducting an FGD. To have a clear picture on how data will be analyzed, RQs 1 and 2 used frequency and percentage distribution and mean ranked. RQ3 would be Mann-Whitney U test and Kruskal-Wallis test. And RQs 4 and 5 would be mean ranked. The following skills were used, so as you can see on screen. For the results and discussions on the demographic profile of the pupils in terms of language background, so there are only two languages, Tagalog and English, that emerged among grade 2 pupils. Both the first learned and home language, with a total number of 48 for Tagalog and 12 for English, got the same frequency and percentages. Even majority use Tagalog as the home language, still the parents and the children value the readiness and awareness in the use of the English language when they entered the school. So this declines as they get to mingle with other kids, learn Filipino as an academic discipline, and due to the pandemic situation where all stay at home. So in simple terms, the demographic profile of pupils in terms of their location supports this claim as majority of the population in grade 2 reside in Batangas. On the demographic profile of the pupils in terms of language challenges, media, with a total number of 24, appeared to mostly affect the pupils' language learning. This was followed closely by language use, with a total number of 21. Since the language competence and performance of these pupils affect their motivation to learn and be aware of other languages, they are not confident enough to use Tagalog, more so the Batangas dialect. Surprisingly, both the first learned and home language got the same frequencies and percentages. This entails the significant involvement and influence of parents among their children. This also shows that majority of the language being used by the family or by the extended family is Tagalog. According to Pupil 1 in our FGD, using Filipino at home creates a closer bond with my cousins and playmates, quote unquote. For item number 2 on pupils' academic achievement in learning the local language, more than 68% of the total respondents were able to meet standards in all the skills indicated. Grade 2 pupils have a good grasp in identifying and using synonyms correctly, and more activities and exposures are needed in identifying and using antonyms correctly. For item number 3, on significant difference in pupils' academic achievement, there is no significant difference on pupil skills when grouped according to language background. And there's also no significant difference on pupil skills when grouped according to language challenges. So this indicates that no matter what language a student has first learned or commonly used, this does not equate to the MTB-MLE skills that they need to learn. This also shows that as long as a student has a positive determination, attitude, and enough exposure, he or she would be able to learn the language. In terms of the language challenges, learners may claim and be differ in terms of their upbringing. Some factors may be dominant while others are not. This may hinder or challenge them in learning or being aware of their local language. We should also treat these as advantages for them to culture in them their rootedness. Those who have used the English language daily and have been influenced by their parents may begin to communicate with other kids of the same age for them to learn a new language and gain more friends and strengthen social interaction. One can learn from the other. Prominent leaders and successful individuals who have learned other languages but remain proud in using their native language may serve as their inspirations. Item 4 on pupil strengths and weaknesses. Based on the ranking, identifying and using antonyms correctly needs the most attention, while identifying and using synonyms correctly get the least ranked. Therefore, whatever strategies that the teacher is using right now, these were deemed effective and should be continued. So even if the pupils were able to meet standards, it is still beneficial to recognize their equivalent ranks to further recommend activities and strategies that will further improve their MTB-MLE skills. Unproposed instructional strategies to continuously provide awareness on Batangas dialect and integrate culture and tradition where language rootedness can be nurtured and explored, varied drills, practice exercises, authentic assessments in both written and spoken forms. This could be utilized by the teachers. Moreover, varied online tools that would further enhance the pupils' skills must also be considered and explored. Since there is also limited access to MTB-MLE samples focusing on the local dialect, teachers may do some sort of storytellings or recordings as instructional materials. Aside from that, different genres such as social media, online ads, blogs may also be used by the teachers to acquire samples from the natives of the local language. Webinars can also be done so pupils will be acquainted more with the Batangas cultures and traditions. Interview activities with the pupils' parents or elders can also be done so they will have first-hand experience of their home language. So these are just some of the general instructional strategies that were being proposed. We do not delve into the details because we believe that working hand in hand with the teachers concerned would be more beneficial on the part of our students. So for the conclusion, Tagalog and English are the prominent languages, while media served as the challenging factor for the respondents to learn a language. Although it was observed that pupil skills were higher in terms of language background and challenges, these differences were not significant. Identifying and using synonyms are the pupil strengths, while identifying and using antonyms are their weaknesses. The following recommendations for a flexible class were suggested: varied drills, exercises, authentic assessments in both written and spoken, social media, online ads, blogs, vlogs may also be used to acquire samples from the natives of the local language, sponsoring webinars, conducting interviews, and using some internet-based tools. Parents as well as educators need to sustain and further enhance the strategies they use in flexible class that the academic system offers. It is also helpful if the pupils will be provided with an environment, be at home or in an online class, where they will constantly use the language and boost their confidence. Teachers and parents must continue to understand that as these pupils take their journey in language learning, it is acceptable that pupils will commit errors. The participants of this study were actually grade 2 pupils who only represent one population who are taking the MTB-MLE in the primary years. Only certain skills during the fourth quarter were given attention, which may differ from other schools that are also offering MTB-MLE as a subject. Moreover, this study was investigated in a private academy that may have the same or different program offering or offerings related to MTB-MLE. Future researchers may validate the claims of this study to other sets of participants. They may also use a different set of demographic profiles, which they think will further support or deepen the claims. For the final note, while some of the personal challenges have also been identified, it would also be better if the challenges brought about by the society, like lack of learning materials, teachers training and workshop, and strong collaborations among school stakeholders are recognized and improved. Optimism is still at stake as we hope that in the future our local dialect is given more attention amid several discussions and challenges. With that, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share with you the findings of my study. God bless everyone.